we have a lot of energy that is around us, and we have various sources of energy. So one thing that is more that is common and now that is often heard is the renewable energy. So what is renewable energy?
Basically, renewable energy is the natural source of energy available, and then it is converted into from one form to another form. So whoever has studied physics in their school, they know that energy conversion of a form of energy. So natural energies are those energies where you can convert, and it is renewable because it's a natural source. So it's never ending sources.
What exactly is your role in this area? What do you do?
So there are different sources of, as you mentioned about natural energy, there are many sources like solar, wind, biomass, hydro, geothermal. So my company is specifically focused on the solar energy. So we are one of the earlier player in India who started manufacturing solar panels. So since 2007 we got into solar, and now we are manufacturing solar. We are doing EPC work for the various solar players, as well as some innovative and interesting projects we do even for the social causes.
The presence of India around solar energy since a while now. So why solar energy is what we have got used to now, or we are adapting right now, and what are the importance of it in India?
See, for any technologies or any innovation, normally it starts either with the military or the space research or that sort of a government initiative. So all of us know that India is a very leading player in the space technologies. Now in the space, from many years, solar has been used as a source of power. So the solar is there in India from long time. Now over the period, the usage of solar has converted from the military level or the space level to the retail and the consumer level. How the normal human being like you and me can get benefited from the solar. So that's where
Right.
India has initiated its solar usage initially from the thermal technologies, then the PV technologies in 80s, 90s, and it actually evolved somewhere in early 2000 where it was made, the policies were made to make it more usable for the public. So I think India had a long history with the solar energy specifically. And now we are reaching at the stage where we are getting more into more consumable utility scale projects where normal human beings are getting benefit of that. And when we look at the India as a country who either use the solar or manufacture the solar equipments, now we have reached at the stage where we are at number two in terms of the manufacturing capability of solar equipments. So I think we are on that journey where we can satisfy our own homely needs through the manufacturing, and that in our by our own manufacturing in next couple of years.
Right.
Okay.
So
Sure.
you have been in the field since a long time, right? So what do you actually feel how India is performing, or anything that could have been done more better?
See, India is a kind of little bit late starter when it comes to the solar energy for consumable usage, but it has catch up in last 7 8 years. The policy shift has taken place from the moderate target of 4 gigawatt. Now we are looking at 100 gigawatt, and that sort of a target in by 2030. So India has shifted the gear. That is the first thing. Second thing, India being such a huge country and mass population available for manufacturing, now India is getting into the stage where we are more into the promoting of make in India, where we can manufacture the products in India. As everyone knows that solar is pretty much controlled by one country where the goods are exported almost 70 80%, if not the last used goods, but the raw material of that. Now India has taken initiative to make it more a level playing field where PLI, which is very important scheme for solar and electronic products, where production link incentive government has offered. So that is bringing a lot of new initiative in India. A lot of private players are coming into the field and getting into the manufacturing, making commitment to the investment, because solar requires a lot of financial commitment. So the government has taken up this, project at multiple stages. One, as I said, about setting up the manufacturing facilities and giving the promotion to them. Then the utility scale and even in micro level scale, where government thinks they cannot reach to those remote areas with the power supply, they are providing them the solar solution either through microgrids or solar irrigation system. And from last 3 years, government is running a scheme called Kusum scheme, which is promoted by central government to provide almost 4 to 5 lakh solar water pump every year to the farmers in the remote area where the grid has not reached. Same with the micro grid concept is there. So that is another good initiative. It has been taken up very aggressively. Apart from that, in terms of the research, manufacturing, and developing technology, government has roped in the government agencies. One, with the PSU's target, government has asked all the PSUs to implement the solar usage. So that is the first stage. Then the government roped in certain energy companies like Coal India to get into the manufacturing and NTPC to manufacturing of the solar equipment. The organization like Whale, whole India, they are getting into the manufacturing of equipments. And then the ISRO and the other agency where they have a good technologies and research, they are giving up certain technologies for the manufacturing by the private sector. So what government has done is taken this initiative at all the stages. Either again, solar being a capital incentive product, it is very difficult for the people living in the rural India and the remote area to afford that. So there is a very sensitive schemes government has brought up to support these people. Something like called Kusum Yojana, which is for the farmers in the remote area, where the government is giving them solar pump at very subsidized rate, and then the state government also contribute. So we are also working in similar schemes in India in different states, and those schemes has helped not only these farmers to do the farming and cultivation, but what the government has targeted that by 2022 the farmers income should be 2 times higher than what they are earning now. It is also going towards achievement of that target, because if you have a source of water but you don't have a source to fetch that water for the farming, then you can only do a farming in the one season or during the monsoon. But with the use of solar, you can do even 2 seasons, 3 seasons, so which ultimately converts into the increase in the farmer's income. So such things has actually helped the farmers and the poor people in the remote area in a real way.
And do you believe that after a point, even industrialists and the industries can take up this to another level, the solar usage?
Obviously, like industries are almost getting a lot of benefits due to the solar, apart from the financial benefit like depreciation and the tax benefit. The power generation cost for them is very low. If you consider if any industry is using a power from the grid, which is costing them somewhere around 7 rupees to 11 rupees, depend on the state and their consumption pattern. When you look at the solar power cost, if you convert it into the absolute unit cost, it is coming 1.5 to 2 rupees. So it's no brainer for industry to use the solar power as a source of energy up to an extent they can use. There are a few challenges which industry face, like availability of space, because if they want to install on the roof of their factories or plant, they may have a limited space. The another challenges are like capital cost, because as we know that India has a lot of MSMEs and they always have a capital issues. So even for that, government is considering this as a part of plant and machinery in recent budgets. Certain provisions has made, so they can take up a loan on this, and it is also considered for the subsidy. So if you are MSME, you're getting subsidy on the plant and machinery. Solar system is also now categorized as plant and machinery. You get subsidy and interest subsidy as well. So I think there are a lot of initiative government has taken. The private sector and industry is also taking up this as a good opportunity. And I think over the period there will be more development there, where the cluster of solar power plant common clusters will be developed.
Okay, so that is more adaptable, I guess, and that is going to be more helpful for the industries also, and for a from a country perspective also, it's going to be nice and economical.
Obviously, obviously, because there are a lot of of benefits which solar brings apart from the commercial benefit. There are environmental benefits also there.
So, on an individual level, like for the people like us, so what would you advise? How can one save energy on the daily basis?
There are
As in
many
a big,
ways to, so sure. So there are many ways to save the energy in terms of as a normal people can do. So starting from turning off the usage of energy from the conventional equipment to more energy saving equipments. As you can see, the in this summer we have very high temperatures across India. So if you convert your equipments which you are using to energy efficient, it means you are almost saying 15 to 20% of energy minimum. Apart from that, there are some basic habits like switching off the TV switches, trying to replace your conventional energy requirement with wherever you can use solar. So if you're on the rooftop, installation of solar water pump or street light with the solar. So these are the small changes as an individual we can adopt.
and even a small change can make a huge difference. And sir, if things are not followed, if people are not getting that seriousness, what do you think is going to be the repercussions?
So global warming, that what we are already seeing that there are so many noise about global warming, and it's a correct noise. I won't say that it's a wrong noise because the cities which were having the highest temperature of 32, 33 now, those cities within like less 10, 15 years hitting the temperature of early 40s. It means already the temperature level has increased by 10 degrees. It means there will be more power consumption to cool ourselves. There are a lot of other issues because of the uh, lack of fertility we'll have with our farms. The crops will burn out in this such a hot weather. What we are seeing right now, you must have witnessed the very high price rise in the lemon recently. So one of the reason when I was trying to talk to some farmer, he said the temperature started rising in early March and mid March, so that has stopped these plants from flowering. So these are the actual effects we are seeing. The country like India, who was exporter of certain agro products, now since last 2 years we are importer of those agro products. So this is the real life effect we are seeing for not conserving the energy and using more energy. Then eventually it's going to affect our daily life.
Right. Right. I think it's already a high time that one should start knowing the importance of this and conserve the energy for the future generations. Otherwise, it's going to be something that is going to be like a book reading for them.
Not even for future generations, it is for our own generations that we will see the difference because we are the generation who has seen the best of electricity availability.
Right.
Now, if you see from last 9 months, 10 months, what we are seeing is coal scarcity and all the sort of things. What it means is that in this particular year, there are many states in India who has seen the power cut in the summers. So it has already begun. Now it is whether we are really, sensitive enough to understand and make changes in our life, or we are going to wait till we can afford this because then there is always a level where people can afford the electricity at 8 rupees and certain people can maybe afford at 20 rupees. But is that going to continue like that? Maybe one day it will cost you 70, 80 rupees considering the scarcity. So that is something we need to understand that it is not going to affect the next generation. It's definitely going to affect us in this generation only, and that too within next one decade, within the decade, not more than that.
So that's coming soon.
Very soon. Yes.
So, sir, you have now the knowledge and expertise. So, what do you think, how India is performing in this particular adaptation of solar energy, and what are the improvements that you have seen in this field in your journey?
So, as I said, that India was considerably late in this, but in last 7, 8 years, we have catch up very fast. So, if you look at the overall adaptation of solar energy, if you talk about, uh, as on date, India is the fifth largest contributor of solar energy in the world. Obviously, China is at number one, and US, Germany, they are at the second, third position. So, if you look at our overall contribution to the solar energy in the world, is somewhere around 7 to 8%. Now, if we compare our population vis-a-vis the solar contribution, it is much lower. because the India's population somewhere around 19% of the world's population. Against that, what we are contributing from solar is 7 to 8%. So things have started changing. That yes, we are at number five, but if you look at the positive side, in 2021, India has achieved a third rank in the installation of solar energy. So that way, we are catching up with the global players. Now, the thing which everyone need to keep in mind is the growth of any country is always linked with the available energy sources. If we talk about the China, US, whoever has grown in this world in terms of industrialization, they had the good electricity. Now, in that terms, India is still lacking. So, when we compare ourselves with the BRICS country only, where GDP to power generation ratio is the lowest in India, so we are even lower than Russia and South Africa and Brazil, China altogether. So that way, when we are expecting our economy to go up, our power generation has to go up. And power generation, considering today's challenges with the pollution, availability of the fossil fuel, the solar and wind becomes the very lucrative options. And specifically with the solar, I think the way solar is scalable and descalable, you can install a solar system from 1 kilowatt to 1 gigawatt on the availability of land and space. That is not always possible with the wind and other renewable options, because you cannot descale certain options. So that way, solar is the fastest installable products available in terms of renewable, or is the cheapest in terms of the power cost. So I think government has realized that, and government has started pushing. But when we do a reality check, what we install in 2000, what we have achieved till 2021 is somewhere around 58 gigawatt of 55, 56 gigawatt of solar installation in India. China did only in 2021 58 gigawatt of solar installation. So what we have achieved cumulative all these years till 21, one country has done that in within 1 year. So there are a lot of challenges, but considering the long-term sustainability plan for any policies, government need to look at the solar from that point of view. The policies should be made like for 15 years, 20 years, not for every year changes. And as an industry, we keep recommending this thing to government. Government is coming up with certain changes as well. The second important thing for India to do is to secure the supply chain. Right now, almost 80-85% of India's solar equipments are either imported or its raw material is imported. So basically, if someone turn off the supply tomorrow, India can have a problem with the pricing as well as the manufacturing of this equipment. The third thing India is doing, and India has to do more aggressively, is technology development for the product of manufacturing equipment as well as the product itself. So, like research into the solar cell, taking one step back research into wafers, and taking one step back, even research into ingot, and securing the supply sources of that, because India is not having that sort of raw material or the minerals available to manufacture. So whether we take up the mines in the foreign countries or that sort of thing. So that's sort of a long-term planning to be done for policies, procurement of raw material, and the technology development.
So the government has given the 100 gigawatts target to us. So how do you think we are progressing towards it?
So, if you look at the target given by the government and year-on-year achievement, in earlier years, 2017, 18, 15, I would say 14 onwards, India was very slow till 2014, 15. Then the speed has picked up with the changes at the ground level. 2018 was one of the year where India achieved the highest installation of solar capacity, that was around 8 gigawatt. And I think 2021 again we did 9 gigawatt. Now, so if you look at that space, and till today, as we speak today, we have installed somewhere around 55 gigawatt. Now we have almost 7.5 years left to do rest of the say the rest of the 45, 50 gigawatt. So I don't see a challenge in that. It can be done if policy parameters are kept, uh, without any sort of flaws. Then we can achieve this sort of target. Yes, as I said, we are late. PLI is helping us. And by the way, implementation of PLI by 2024-25, India will be in a position to secure the production and some of the supply chain, even for the basic raw material of solar products. So that way, we'll by after 25, we'll have a robust supply chain available within India, and that will definitely help India to achieve this target in a very faster mode. And I'll be surprised that even if we cross this sort of a level.
Oh, that's nice. But do you think the promotion, the branding, government has been planning it fairly enough?
Obviously, government level, it may be from as a layman for you, you are not aware of the kind of detailed policy initiative or the tracking and tracing the projects done by the government. But we being in industry, we know how much focus government is giving to such projects. Just to share an example with you, under this Kusum scheme for solar irrigation system, we're working for around 5 states. So altogether, there are 50, 60 companies working across India. Now, every Friday, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy have a Zoom call or any web call with all the agencies. Take the update from this agency that where do you stand with your progress in each state, where do you face a problem, and how they can help to connect us with those local state governments where the things can be fastened up. Now, if you can imagine that at the highest level of ministry and a secretary level, the weekly review has been updated. And there are 4 lakh farmers getting water pump every year this way. So this is the one stage I'm talking about. There are so many things. Each state has their own solar targets to achieve. That if a state has a consumption of, for example, 100 gigawatt of power within a year, they have something called RPO, renewable power obligation. They also need to convert some of their power sources from the fossil to solar or a wind. So this way, government has given targets, and each even going down to the discoms. Even discoms need to work on that. So the machinery is working very fine. uh, we had a long due overhaul requirement in the policies which has been taken place, and which is helping industry government to make a long term planning, and that is already in the pipeline making. Just to give you insight that recently government has announced that small scale industries can tie up with the universities for their research, and they will be funded by government. So this is a very, very good aspect which is taken by the government. It's similar aspect we have seen in China, where any new technology driven company comes up, they can tie up with the university, and universities are anyway funded by government for their research. So industry can get the research done free of cost by university through the government funding, and that way the whatever the research is done is for the actual use of the industry and not just for the writing a paper for PhD. So these sort of proactive things been taken up by government, which is definitely going to help. And this is the sector where government involvement is very vital, and government has realized that.
That's actually very nice to know the detailed things that are a gist of the details that are going behind the scenes. So, which is commendable.
That's the one last thing I would like to add. Definitely, if I can share details and it helps people to understand the things. Saying that government initiative and the people understanding about, the amount of money they can save by installation of solar has taken up a very well in this city. And 1 lakh household has installed solar system. So with the population of 55 lakh in the city, if 1 lakh householders install the solar system, it means it's a very good success rate for the city and the state. And the biggest achievement for anyone is when you want to explain someone about the benefit, the way initially even we were explaining to the residents of the city when we were working on the residential side, is that as an individual, when you put your money into the fixed deposits, you earn 5%, 6%, 7% interest. And with the help of subsidy, when you install solar system, your rate of return is almost 25 to 30%. So it's not a brainer that rather than you put your money into the fixed deposit, you install the solar system with that, and reap the benefit that of those systems. And it has worked very well with the people, and we have seen the results now.
Actually, we don't realize how much our money can be multiplied with the help of the energy resource itself. And I think one reason that we lack is because of this awareness. If we all, as individuals, are aware of what we can save and what we can multiply into, everyone will be taking this seriously.
So that is very absolutely a right point. And there is a one out of the box discussion I'll do here, that government has taken initiative even for the companies who are working for a social cause to get listed on the stock exchanges now. So for
Oh,
example, yes, so for an example, you are running a company who is working for a social causes. Like we did some projects in the Baripada, which is a very remote tribal area in state of Maharashtra. Now, if you want to do such a cause, and there are a lot of people who wants to contribute to the economy for the social causes or give a donation, but they don't know how to do. So when these people go and invest in such company, the money will be used for the social causes. So this out of the box, initiative is taken by the government. Like when we did the Bari Prada project for 132 families, we converted the whole solar system for their irrigation facilities, and the land are so fertile. The area is so much uh, uh, useful for the strawberry and onion, that sort of a crop. Now, those farmers, with the help of the availability of water, they are doing three crops, and the crops like strawberry gives them almost 1 lakh of a yield for 1 acre of land. Now, can
wow.
you imagine those small farmers with the 2 acre of land? Their crop used to get burned just because there is no water. Now they are making 1 lakh rupees from 1 acre of land. So government has understood this sort of requirement, and they have allowed companies to get listed for the social causes. So I think this is going to go in
Very
a
nice.
different direction.
Yeah, this is actually a good initiative because many won't know how to be a helping hand or how to contribute their own thing into this. But then share market is everyone is aware, so I guess it's their own benefit also, and now then it'll help people also.
No, absolutely. And there are so many people who wants to do it. Like for example, you want to donate 200 rupees or 500 rupees every month for some social cause, but that 500 rupees on your own, you cannot give some poor farmers or in the remote area energy. But if 100 people like you contribute, then definitely each one farmer will get a solar energy every month. Evolution of the technology. If you are a contributor or a donor, it's easy for you to monitor how much power is generated, because with the availability of remote monitoring system and other tools to monitor what is happening there, you can see whether the power is generated or not. Even in the smallest system, when we work for some of the government projects, they ask us to install the remote monitoring systems, and those remote monitoring systems are centrally connected with government servers. So if
Okay.
someone has supplied an inferior product or not giving a warranties and doing the maintenance of the system, it is a live data available to government now.
Then it just struck into my mind that what if someone is not
So,
giving product or
so the checks and balances has been put now.
so every possible could have a gray area. The government has taken a step on that.
Absolutely. And people also has to see, the people also has to take initiative to do it, because government can make a policy, give you a solution, but end of the day you have to go and ask for your right. And if someone is not performing well, you have to go and complain. Sure.
So for us, we did not know that so much is going on, and I hope and I know that with this video, people will be aware of what is actually going on.
We can talk
Usually,
about this topic for 4 hours, and I can give you different example and different initiative and innovation for 4 hours.
yeah, and it makes me, as in when you're telling one example, it's actually bringing a smile on my face that, oh, so much is going on, and it's nice to know that the country is going ahead. So many appliances, applications that are built with solar.
Yeah.
So, and basically, major population of India is farmers. So if we
True.
cater, then it will be more for us only, as in it's going to help us grow, and it is going to be helping us also to, survive.
So that is a kind of a vicious circle where farmers are into. One, they are getting a less income for their crops over year and year. The yield is dropping year and year basis, and the cost of uh, uh, pesticides, cost of fertilizers are increasing. And as the family is divided over the years, the size of land is coming down. So India almost have 90% of the marginalized farmers. So they cannot afford to have equipments. On top of that, if the crop fails, they'll be in a very bad situation. And over the periods, what we have seen that there is a movement from the rural India to the urban area in the search of employment. Now, when that happens, you don't even have people working on the farmland. It means so many states. If I talk only about my state, in Gujarat has more than 25% of the uncultivated land. It means we have land available, but we cannot grow the foods because of multiple reasons. One of the reason is no manpower availability and no availability of water or the water electric sources. Now, when all those these sort of things can be taken care in a very simplest and the cheapest way, then only we'll see that people are coming back and doing the farming because they are
Right.
earning some money.
Right. Because I guess if basic challenges are taken care of, then people will be motivated to then go ahead and continue this occupation.
Obviously, so it's a big value chain where we need to do a lot. Only solar is a one part of that. There are other things apart from the solar also needs to bring for keeping people within the village or within those forests.
Yeah. So again, thank you so much for your time,
Thank
sir.
you.
It was a very valuable session. I cannot put it into words how happy I
That's
am.
my pleasure.